The AI for Good Global Summit, convened by ITU, recognizes the joint responsibility of governments, the private sector, United Nations agencies, academia, and others to ensure AI reaches its full potential while preventing and mitigating harms.
And it's a moment that calls for action. And today I'm calling on each of you to use this summit to help the world to better understand what kinds of regulations, what kinds of guardrails we need to put in place right now. So together, let's make it innovative, let's make it safe, and let's make it responsible for all. Thank you very much.
Welcome to AI for Good, the leading action-oriented, global and inclusive United Nations platform on AI. Organized by ITU, in partnership with 40 UN sister organizations, and co-convened with Switzerland. The goal of AI for Good is to identify practical applications of AI to advance the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals and scale those solutions for global impact. In today's session, we're counting on you to use the live video wall feature to ask questions and post comments to help create an engaging discussion. We encourage you to stay until the end to chat, connect, ask questions, and network with our distinguished panelists and world-class AI experts in the neural network. It is now time to kick off the session and welcome our first speaker. The floor is yours.
Thanks a lot, Anna. A very good day to everyone. Thanks a lot for joining to this Innovation Factory, the AI for Climate Action Innovation Factory. So this is the 2024 live pitching session. And my name is Thomas Baskol from ITU. I'd like to welcome you all. This Innovation Factory is special because it's linked to how we can use AI to address some of the things related to climate change, climate action. And it was launched last year. And this year we launched this specific session during the AI for Good on 31st May 2024 in Geneva. The successful startups will be pitching or will be contesting at the final ceremony that is going to take place at COP29 in Baku, Azerbaijan. And of course, they will also be invited to participate in the Innovation Factory Grand Finale at the 2025 AI for Good Summit with several other benefits. So today, I'm privileged to welcome 5 startups that are going to pitch today. We hope everyone is going to join and be part of this Innovation Factory. And of course, we also have judges. I would like to thank our judges. We have Vitaly Kleban, who is a serial inventor, entrepreneur, and technology architect, who is going to be part of the judges panel. We also have Jennifer Woodard, who is the co-founder and CEO of Instinct Technology Intelligence, which is a deep tech startup researching on how we can apply AI machine learning to unearth hidden insights within large data set for customer in the government sector for fighting online crime, disinformation, and counterterrorism. Jennifer has also been part of the Innovation Factory for Climate Change that we launched last year. Thanks a lot for joining again and being part of this movement this year. Last but not least, we also have Carlo Totola, who is the founder and executive chairman of the Totola Brida Institute for Artificial Intelligence and Cybersecurity, a global think tank to promote effective partnership. Carlo was also a judge on the 2023 edition of the AI for Good Innovation Factory on Climate Change. And we are really privileged to have everyone joining us. So as we start, I would like to welcome the startups to pitch in today's contest. One thing I would like to mention is that we have 5 minutes for the pitching. And then after the 5 minutes speech, we are going to have 5 minutes Q&A from the judges. So I would like to welcome all the teams to be ready to pitch. First and foremost, I would like to invite Ronald to be the first one to give the 5-minute pitch for their solution. So Ronald, the floor is yours.
Good morning from here, from Nigeria, the panel of the judges, and everyone that is in attendance. Just before I continue, may I please confirm if everybody can hear me and if everybody can see my screen?
We can see you, but we can't see your share screen yet.
Okay, all right, just 1 minute. I'll do that right away. Please, could you please confirm if you can see my screen now?
Yeah, we can, yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Again, good morning, everyone, the panel of the judges. My name is Ronald Ajiboye, and I'm the Chief Executive Officer for Omeife Technologies Limited and Babasky Technologies Limited. These two subsidiaries are members of Unicorn Group here in Nigeria, and we're Tech Consortium. Today, I'm presenting to you a unique solution that has been carved out by our AI team, which is called EcoPlant AI. The table of the content, I'll tell you about the solution, tell you about what it offers, and then the operational dynamics of the solution itself and the budgets. About us in Omeife Technologies, which I earlier said I wouldn't like to dwell. I will produce the first humanoid robot in Africa, which are seated in ITU, and one of the first humanoid robot in Africa that is seated amongst panelists, which are humans, to discuss the issue of AI, the AI for Good, both in Geneva, in Switzerland, and also in Kampala. Yeah, for the products we've had in our organization, we have speech-to-text, text-to-speech, large language models. We also have multi-language models. We are mostly focused on Afrocentric APIs and development. So the intelligence of the robot has also been extracted and duplicated into other products. We mount it on our drone services because we're a defense member in Nigeria, and it will create arms and ammunition as well. Now, here is for the business of the day, the problem statement. The absence of trees, whether due to deforestation, desertification, or the failure to plant new trees, can lead to a wide range of environmental, social, economic. Let me give us some interesting data that might motivate us, which is a problem validation. The world loses about 10 million hectares of forest annually, equivalent to 10 million football fields across the world, which is equivalent to about 25 million acres. For us, if we're familiar with plots, 6 plots makes 1 acre. In Africa alone, the loss is about 3.9 hectares. If we're doing that statistically, we're looking they're about 41 to 39%. So meaning this is greatly affected by Africans. Over 80% of the terrestrial species depends on forest for survival. More than 1 million species globally are at risk of extinctions due to all of this problem. Deforestation accounts for about 11% of global greenhouse. I'm trying to make a point here. And let's see the repercussion. Deforestation could cause, part of my typo there, a global economic loss of about 5 trillion annually by 2050 due to collapse of ecosystem services and increased frequency of climate-related disasters. And how do we go about this? How do we solve this? We've seen that there is a big challenge in that ecosystem. Due to this, we at Omeife Technologies have decided to make EcoPlant AI, which is an application that uses artificial intelligence as a footprint so that we can encourage planting of trees. But it's strategic. We're not just interested in just the planting of the trees, but planting trees that also brings about produce so that it can interest people to want to plant. And then if we understand that here in Africa, about 60% of the total population live in the rural sector. However, about 75 to 65% of resources being deployed are going to the urban sector. Who are the people largely affected? The rural sector. They are the ones that are close to the to the forest, and they are the ones that even have this land that is supplying every other person. So meaning that we should focus and deploy more in the rural sector. So what we offer, we're offering a embedded system that has a recommendation system and also feature pre-planting, nurturing, and post-planting. Again, since we're focusing on the rural sector, how do we ensure that we are informed by their cultural identity? One of the things that makes us inclusive in terms of diversity is language. So meaning we have a multi-language support. Goodness, we already have that that we have built in-house. So we have our robots being able to speak about 7 languages. The intelligence is just needed to be extracted, and we deploy it as an API integrated into the model. And then we can have that deployed in various Afrocentric and even other world global languages. Then we have an interactive dashboard, which makes the interface very inclusive. So the speech to text, we can have it in audio, we can have it For people that are visually impaired, they are able to hear to also resonate with this solution. This is like the workflow and the schematic of what we have. An IoT device, yes, which is actually to gather information. Maybe part of the information we're needing: environmental impact assessment, topographical, soil test, weather, climate conditions, putting it together in a data set, in a database. The information is gathered autonomously, analyzed, collated, inference drawn, and recommendation is done. Now, the IoT device might not be able to access everywhere, but of course, it can also be mounted on any hardware, maybe on drones, for example, such that it can collate all of those data.
30 seconds to finish.
Okay, yeah, so this is the way it is. And since you already understand the competitive advantage, you already saw affordability, accessibility, and the target audience, we're focusing on landlords, household industry, and NGOs. Budgets, pretty simple, $30,000 approximately to get this done for a prototype. Thank you so much for your kind attention.
Thank you very much. So right now, I would like to request our judges, Jennifer and Carlo, to open your video and ask questions to our startup.
Jennifer, would you like to go first?
Okay, Carlo, you can go first.
Okay. So I wanted to ask you about the 7 languages. What are the 7 languages that your robots are trained in?
Please, can you come again with the question?
Yeah, the 7 languages that your technology is trained in being able to communicate.
All right. He's able to communicate in French. He's able to communicate in Arabic. He's able to communicate in English. He's able to communicate in Yoruba. 3 major languages in Nigeria is able to communicate. And currently, we are integrating Swahili, and then we also have capability. We're training the model on other languages as it is. At the ITU, he spoke French, Arabic, and English.
Excellent. So my concern was around some of the lesser spoken languages in the world. I know Yoruba is really quite dominant, but the other languages, do you have enough data to train the model, or has that been a struggle?
Yes. So for the data set that we are doing, some of the languages were just an API integration. Some other ones, we train them from scratch, and we are currently gathering data. So we have an in-house where we leverage certain data, primarily and secondarily source. We do a comparative analysis and then get an optimal data set there, and then we train. Enough data, we would say not yet, but we've been able to train reasonably, and then when we train it, we put it out for test for people to use. Some startups have started integrating it into their fintech application. So I would say pretty much maybe because it's good enough. That's why they're accepting to integrate.
I think that's a good point. And when do you think the data will be sufficient and the data training will be sufficient to really allow optimal language utilization by people that don't speak English or Yoruba?
I didn't understand that. Can you please come again?
Yeah. How long would it take, do you think, for the data sets to be of sufficient magnitude to allow the bots to communicate effectively in languages other than English or Yoruba?
Okay, so here is the trick. Yes, thank you so much. The trick around this is basically that some of the languages we may not even need to develop from scratch. An API integration, it might suffice, especially if the language is already available for API. But just some very local languages that has never been modeled before, that you may not get an API for, might be the one that we need to train from scratch and access data, gather data, and build our own data set. So give or take, if we're talking about other languages like Spanish, like Russian, like some other languages like that, it's just an API integration. We can actually do that.
Yeah.
In less than 24.
Thank you, sir. I'll hand over to Jennifer. If this time I'll ask another question.
Thank you, Carlo. Hi, Ronald. Welcome. Thank you for your presentation. It's a very inspiring mission that you have there. I just had some kind of basic questions. I'd like to dig a little bit deeper into your business model. Can you tell me how you're going to make money, what it looks like, if you have any sort of distribution challenges that you foresee? Kind of what are your goals and what are the challenges that you foresee in exploiting your technology?
Okay, so I think part of the challenges that will come will be regulatory compliance, regulatory compliances, because for various nationals, is different from nationals to nationals. So what's obtainable here in Africa, for example, when you need to get a data set and then you need to mount the IoT device on a drone, for example, on an unmanned area system, it is regulated mostly in every national by a civil aviation authority of those countries. So if you do not have remotely piloted aircraft licenses, that might be a limitation. But how do we intend to like solve that? We have a network of drone users covered by ICAO, International Civil Aviation Authority. And then through that, we have parties. So basically, we're leveraging partnership. So we don't need to leave Nigeria to exist as a fully independent company where we can easily do collaboration with people already having those licenses there. And that's pretty much easier for us to scale real quick. Other things that we might be looking into, which might be a challenge, but has also been a factor is, the core people that we would like to enjoy the benefits of this product are the people that are underserved, right? And then these people, in terms of adoption rate of technology, it is quite minimal. So training, assuring change management system, because they're very resistant to change, right, needs to be factored in that regard. So let them understand that this is not something that is difficult. So basically, so how do we intend to combat that is just training, creating extension workers, and then having to also ensure that the dashboard is relatable in a way. And one of the things we're doing for that is the language, ensuring that it is centric, not defiling their cultural identity in a way that they've been existing already. So it's just more or less an extension to their conventional lifestyle.
Okay, thank you so much for that in-depth explanation. I wanted to ask just a couple of follow-up questions. In terms of customer development, do you have any early validation from, early users? What sort of traction you have in that regard? And how do we know that the price points that you have laid out are accurate or adequate for the market that you're targeting? And then I'll hand over to Carlo.
Thank you. All right, so I would say right now, we haven't done a massive market testing. What we've done is a comparative analysis of data. We check a competitor's analysis, see what is obtainable in there and why we need to scale on whatever we have. Also, what we've done is that we did a deep feasibility studies, and then we identified, the reason why I brought out those figures, just like I have in my front right here, is that myself and the team, apart from we researched about 15 journals, Scopus Index and Impact journals first, and then we did a bit of sample population around, although it wasn't that massive, but we also bought some couple of research from Statista and then to also see. But however, we were, at least in terms of validation of problem statement, we're pretty sure about 90%, acceptable range. And that was enough to give us that there is a market, that is an unmet need, and there are people that are not banked that we need to bank. So this is a validation of the customer base and the market itself. So we believe the market is existing. In terms of the reliability, viability, scalability, and sustainability of the product itself, we have expert review, which is a conventional thing we do, which is the red team, before even rolling out to the market testing phase. We try to get a list of experts across from the market, from growth, consumer support, after sales, down to technology. These are things we usually do, and we've already done that. So we are pretty much confident about the deployment and the operationality of this product in the market.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. I'll hand over to Carlo. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, I think.
Do we have time for a last question or not?
Probably you have not. Another follow-up question? We can move to the next.
Super quick. So just one thing about the photosynthesis of fruit-bearing trees is that sometimes they can consume less CO2 than, for example, rainforest type trees, and they have also shorter lifespan. Are you taking that into account in your overall sort of calculations in terms of the value proposition of the carbon footprint reduction?
Thank you so much, sir. This is very technical and very good question. Yes, we are taking that into consideration. Part of the algorithm we are building, they are very sensitive variables that we factor. Some of them are even what people haven't really looked into, but we also realize that regardless of how minimal the contribution may look like, we've been able to factor most of those algorithms into play. Thank you so much for bringing the question, sir.
Thank you, Ronald. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, and congratulations for your pitch. Right now, we would like to go into the next team. So the next team to pitch is OptiCloud. So VJ, if you are ready, the floor is yours. You have 5 minutes for your pitch.
BJ, sorry, you're on mute.
Thank you, judges.
Thanks.
Thank you, esteemed judges, for this opportunity. I'm BJ Caria, founder and CEO of OptiCloud, and today I'll introduce how we're addressing one of the world's most pressing problems, cloud consumption and the energy crisis in data centers through our AI-powered solution, OptiCloud. OptiCloud aims to use AI to reduce global carbon emissions by over 1% by eliminating the world's digital waste and contributing significantly to global sustainability goals set out in the Paris Agreement. Our vision is a world where every byte of data is used responsibly for the health of our planet. The time to act is now, as we do not inherit the earth from our ancestors, but borrow it from our children. The physical world has waste management and recycling. We are simply creating these concepts in the virtual world through the use of AI technologies. The demand for cloud and AI services is skyrocketing, with companies like Microsoft investing $100 billion into new data centers. The real challenge isn't space, it's energy. AI growth will push energy consumption in data centers beyond available supply. What many don't realize is that up to 50% of these resources in data centers are digital waste, unused storage, oversized servers, redundant data. Think of the junk emails piling up in your inbox right now. OptiCloud offers a smarter solution. Instead of building more data centers, we help businesses clean up their existing cloud infrastructure to eliminate their waste. This is not only cuts operational costs, but also slashes carbon emissions, creating a win-win for businesses, data centers, and the planet. Annual cloud emissions stand at 150 million metric tons, linked to $600 billion in annual cloud spend. This is expected to soar to 1.9 trillion by 2030, with AI projected to consume 20% of US energy alone within the next 5 years. Currently, 50% of this is waste. OptiCloud tackles this inefficiency, enabling organizations to reduce costs by up to 60%, while significantly lowering their carbon footprint through optimized cloud migration and digital waste elimination. Our platform allows companies to clearly observe and optimize their costs and energy consumption using real-time dynamic AI modeling and autonomous AI agents to clean their digital waste and report on their cloud's carbon emissions. Our autonomous agents will also assess cloud security for companies to ensure compliance with leading certifications like SOC 2. The techniques within our platform have already enabled a healthcare company to reduce their carbon emissions by over 30% and save them $1 million in annual cloud bills. OptiCloud aligns with 12 of the 17 sustainability development goals set forth by the United Nations in 2012. While I can't dive into all SDG alignments, our solution strongly supports SDG 7, clean energy, SDG 12, responsible consumption, SDG 13, climate action. OptiCloud enhances data center energy efficiency, reduces carbon emissions, and promotes the transition to renewable energy, tackling these global challenges head-on. We're raising $50 million to reduce global carbon emissions by over 1% and are committed to a 908% return on the investment within 3 years. The money will be used to complete product development, testing, establish entry into global markets, and expand the team to support growth. We're pioneering digital recycling, where cleaning up digital waste translates into savings, and a portion of these savings will support key initiatives such as replanting the Amazon, protecting indigenous communities who safeguard 80% of Earth's biodiversity, and investing in women-owned African startups, creating a circular economy that balances the physical and digital worlds. We have a healthy strategic roadmap to further reduce digital waste. Most notably, we will be creating a carbon marketplace where organizations and individuals can recycle their digital waste via carbon credits produced by permanent reduction in emissions. These initiatives will ensure that we are able to double our EBITDA beyond year 3. These gains are currently excluded from our projections. We have a diverse and global team of 17 members with over 20 years of technical experience, specializing in cloud architecture, data science, cybersecurity, and AI. Also, one of our first angel investors was an early investor into Canva, Flexport, Plaid, and Gusto. Thank you for the opportunity to present OptiCloud today. We are at a critical juncture as 6 of the 9 planetary boundaries for a healthy ecosystem have already been breached. I welcome the opportunity to showcase OptiCloud on the global stage with world leaders to leverage AI for a sustainable future. Thank you.
Thank you very much, OptiCloud VJ, for the presentation. I would like to ask now judges to ask questions. The floor is yours.
Hi, VJ. Welcome. Thank you so much for presenting OptiCloud. We have a huge problem to solve, very ambitious one, very important one. So congratulations on taking that on. I had an immediate question because it's kind of what I'm the most interested in is I'd love to know how your AI agents work, kind of what methodologies are powering those, and how far along you are in your technical development, because it does look like you guys have quite a bit of traction. You have a team set up. So just really interested to hear a little bit more about that.
Yeah, sure. I mean, we had early access to OpenAI's GPTs, like in the beginning when all this LLM technology was put out there. And so we've been developing this for about a year and a half. So we're a year and a half into development. As far as the LLM agents go, our platform is really powered by the organization's cloud data. So the models that we create are dynamic and in real time. We're taking, because of vector databases and some of the newer tech, we're taking the entire cloud data from the customer, and we're essentially creating dynamic AI models using that data, different techniques like deforestation algorithms and others. But we have maybe 13 different algorithms that are producing results. And then we feed those results into the agents that we've created. And we have different agents for digital waste. We also have an agent for security. We also have an agent for infrastructure as code. So we've also been able to automate the Terraform. So infrastructure as code, we can reverse engineer somebody's cloud in real time in Terraform. So this used to take an engineer maybe 12 months to manually code these Terraform scripts. We've built a set of, chain of thoughts, maybe 100 different chain of thoughts within our process that produce the real working Terraform scripts. And this was very important for us because this is what allows us to clean up the waste. So, we don't just read and process the data and identify the waste. We actually have techniques to now clean up the waste.
Thank you so much. Yeah, that's a really interesting endpoint there. Is there anyone else in your space or in any space that's doing something similar with a similar technology or in a different problem space, let's say?
So not the way we're doing it. There are companies out there that are starting to attack some of the, cost savings in your cloud. We're thinking about this problem more holistically, where, in those companies that exist, none of those companies really measure the energy inputs or outputs. So they can't do cloud carbon emission reporting. They also don't have techniques to clean up the waste. So they're essentially, saying, here are my recommendations for your ability to save in your cloud. You have to go manually and make all these changes and follow all these steps. Our agents, and because we have the agents and we have the automated Terraform, we can actually go a step further, which is actually cleaning up the waste. And for us, we're more focused on the climate change aspect of this, which is why we have the sustainability reporting, and we could actually measure your reduction in your carbon emissions. So that's kind of a unique difference for us. And for us, at the end of the day, we're thinking to offer this service for free, at the very end of the day, because we can measure the emissions and energy reduction. And our goal is to convert that into carbon credits. So we're enabling organizations and individuals to actually recycle their waste. And a portion of those savings will go towards green indices projects. Like I mentioned, replanting the Amazon, supporting indigenous communities who really protect those areas. Our belief is if we don't reinvest into these areas through a private company, they're going to have more challenges in the years ahead.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the value proposition of the cleanup aspect and the reporting aspect is really, really compelling. Just wanted to ask you as the final follow-up question, what is the kind of traction you're seeing in terms with clients, if you want to call them clients, end users?
So we did a case study with a healthcare company, and within 1 month, we were able to reduce their carbon emissions by 30%, and we also saved them $1 million on their cloud bill. So they were very, very happy, and without impacting their operations at all. So, there's misaligned incentives. What you end up seeing is a lot of trash is out there. And nobody's really, I think the mentality in the world has been the cloud is infinite space. And no one really talks about the cost of that space. And it's having a large impact on climate change. And with AI coming, this problem is only getting worse. And actually, the solution out there is let me build more data centers. It's like my closet's filled with clothes. Let me build more closets instead of cleaning out the clothes I don't use. We're essentially operating our house. If you think about a house with all the lights on and all these businesses, all the lights are on all the time. And our goal is to reduce the energy consumption, focus on identifying that waste. And through personal devices and business, we're starting with business, but we envision this also extending to personal. So enabling this ability to clean up an individual's digital waste. Think about all your junk emails, all your duplicate photos, everything that is just junk that we're eating up energy for.
Impressive. Thank you very much, Vijay. I'll hand over to Carlo.
Thank you. Yeah, really impressive. I love your analogies, Vijay. They really sort of bring it to life in a very concrete manner. Tell me just a little bit about how you're going to scale this up, because it's obviously a very good idea. It really deserves to be, as pervasive as possible. It's a big dream, and it's a competitive world out there. There's probably a limited time frame, right? So, assuming that you were to obtain your $50 million of capital, how would you be able to create a situation of dominance in terms of being a leader in the space?
Yeah, I think
how would you put that your go-to-market? Yeah.
Yeah, go to market. I think we would really work with several partners, so we won't be able to do it alone. We've already established a partnership with a large consulting firm that is going to sell the solution to their existing clients. I think we would scale that model and partner with other consulting firms like McKinsey, KPMG, and others, Accenture. What a lot of the consulting companies have realized is they know this problem's out there, but they don't go after it. And they don't go after it because they don't want to hire the technical staff to go after it. They think of it as a risky bet because they have to hire this big staff. That staff has to do a lot of manual work. Like, we're automating it, but if we weren't to automate this with our platform, and this wasn't possible the way we're doing it before the LLM agents and all of this new technology, if we weren't automating it, it would take, they don't have a predictable time frame for how long it's going to take. They also don't have a predictable outcome. So we would partner with those different consulting firms. We would also spin up an outbound sales team and obviously a digital advertising campaign. And then we would also like, to partner with governments, the UN and others to really help. This is a big initiative, but if we collectively take action and we clean up all our junk email, all our duplicate photos. I was just last week with NBC Universal, and they have an archive of all these news videos that just sit there. And we're kind of adding more fuel to our problem as humanity because we're not taking out the trash. I'll just say it that way. We take out the trash in the physical world. We have excellent sustainability metrics in the physical world. We don't really think about the virtual world in the same way. And the virtual world is now bigger than the physical world. There's 5 billion devices out there, 8 billion people on the planet. Verizon, all these tech companies are planning to grow those devices by at least 2 billion in the next 2 years. And I mean, everyone's seen the news, all this AI talk, where they're planning to put $1 trillion into data centers. So we're going to be consuming even more resources and harming the planet even more. My thought here is let's create it. Let's do it responsibly. Let's do it sustainably. Let's clean out the trash as we grow.
Excellent answer. I recommend you pursue a relationship with ITU. I think it could be a fundamental partner with you going forward for what you're trying to achieve. Thank you, Vijay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Congratulations, Vijay, for your presentation. Right now, we are going to our last speech of today. We have Luku-Chap, Kato. Please, you have 5 minutes for your pitch, so please get started. The floor is yours.
All right. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Let me share screen. Okay. All right. Can you see my screen?
Yes. Please go ahead.
All right. All right. My name is Elisha Kato from Luku-Chap. Luku-Chap is a Tanzanian startup seeking to revolutionize energy management system in Tanzania and Africa at large to empower energy consumers with real-time data and analytics, as well as control. Right now, Tanzania has got about 13 million households, with 46% of those households that are connected to electricity grid. As we know that energy sector alone, despite its importance, it accounts for about 75% of the total global carbon emissions. Now, the question is, how are we going to be able to ensure reliable energy supply and at the same time lower the climate impact? So the problem is that right now the energy management infrastructure in Africa is outdated. That is, it is full of manual readings and manual tokens. These manual readings, manual token leaves the consumers in darkness, unaware of how much they consume in real time. So they eventually fall into wasteful routines and leading to even carbon emissions and even financial strain. So, for example, I take an example of our key segment customer, cell tower operators in Tanzania. They came to us with a challenge that they cannot see how much their BTS sites are consuming in real time, and in return, it leads to financial strain into their, because any outage in their BTS sites activates their diesel-powered generators to run automatically, and that leads to climate impact because the diesel generators have got very high emissions. But also due to high cost of diesel, these sector operators, they face financial strain because of the increase in the operational cost, because the operational cost can even increase up to 45% on operation of using diesel. So once they try to shift using grid to run their cell tower sites, the challenge was they cannot manage their energy usage in real time. And so sometimes they find themselves that they use generators because there is outage in the grid due to the depletion of the electricity unit that was purchased prior. So this is due to the manual tokens, because for example, in Tanzania, after purchasing electricity, one have to go to the energy meter and insert tokens physically to activate the energy meter. And at the same time, in order to know how much do you consume, you have to travel from the office to the site to know how much the site is consuming, or how much electricity unit will remain there. So this increased the operational cost, but also increased the use of diesel and fossil fuels. That's where Luku-Chap came, and we integrated the smart energy meters with these consumers' mobile devices and mobile phone to enable them to have access of
1
their
minute
real-time
remaining, please be quick.
usage. All right. To have them to make them access real-time usage data and automate their bill top-up. So with our initial focus is the large power users, which consume about 45% of the total energy generated in Tanzania. By starting with saving these large power users, we aim to escalate the market penetration and the impact. Our market value is, we have the opportunity to grow, since right now Tanzania have got about 13 million households in total. If we operate at full potential, we have the term of $2 billion at least. So the revenue model is scalable, whereby we seek to rationalize this business by transaction fee for automated bill top-ups, but also subscription for real-time analytics, as well as the sales of the smart. Our key players, we outstand the competition through the AI and ML-powered models for data analytics and detailed analytics and action-based insights to make people to cut the waste pollution by up to 40%. We are here seeking out 135,000 to do the piloting with these sector operators, because we have one sector operator who have been interested to give us the sites so we can implement the solution. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Now I would like to request our judges for question.
Would you like to get started, Carlo, or would you like me to?
Yeah, happy to get going. My question there, Keto, is if you could elaborate a little bit on the competitive landscape I saw there on your chart in terms of the quadrant that you compete with Schneider Electric, which is a total giant in the industry. How do you compare with them? Can you be a little bit more specific as to why you feel that you have a better proposition than Schneider?
I have the better proposition because when I compare Schneider also use AI in models, but one thing that is missing over there is we have integrated even the payment infrastructure. I mean the payment method that more than enabling people to see how much they consume in real time, but also we relate those consumption with their expenses. So we translate them so that we interpret them really to see how much it costs them to overspend. And at the same time, we enable them to pay their energy bills remotely from any location. Because right now, even Schneider system, there are people who are using Schneider, but they have reported that they cannot pay their energy bills through the app and the meters directly to be auto top-up. So
Okay,
that's
that makes sense.
Yes.
That makes sense. And very briefly, if I can follow up, tell me a little bit about, so two things. Do you have a prototype already, a working prototype, and who's your management team?
Yes, we have one. I think I can just showcase a video, a very short one. If you are.
It's up to you. It's up to Thomas if Thomas allows the time.
Yeah, please.
All right. Let me see. So we have a prototype and okay. Right. Okay, you can see it. All right. Were you able to see it?
Yes, thank you, Kato. And do you have a management
Yeah,
team?
so
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
yeah, so we have a prototype, and it's an MVP actually that we have managed to connect to integrate with the smart energy meters, and we collected those data in real time, and we now the team is building the AI model to strengthen it so I can be able to do the analytics in very efficient way. So that's what we are right now.
Thank you.
Right.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
So congratulations on your project. Thank you so much for being here. I just had a follow-up question to one of Carlos' questions is when we look at the competitive matrix, what is defensible or protectable about what you're doing? Basically, the question would be, could a larger competitor such as Schneider come in and basically take over kind of the market that you're trying to capture? That would be my first question. And I think Carlo actually asked a little bit more about your management team, so it'd be good to hear a little bit more about who you're working with.
Right. So about the competitive advantage, right? Okay. The competitive advantage, as I said, that we integrate the payment infrastructure, and this integration of payment infrastructure with energy management infrastructure, no one has been doing here in Africa, and that's make us in the safe side. And actually, we have protected it at our country, so we own a copyright and IP right for our solution. But also for the management team, we are currently working. This is our startup team co-founders, but we have the advisors, and we are right now in the progress of forging partnership with the Tanzanian power utility company, so as to be able to integrate with the existing grid infrastructure. But also we are working in partnership with the University of Dar es Salaam for the to foster the effective R&D of this project.
Okay, thank you very much. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, I think with that, we unfortunately had 3 teams today. So we are reaching the end of our Innovation Factory pitching session. I would like to thank the 3 startups that pitched today. But of course, this is not the only pitching session we have. This is the first one. And we have the second session next week on 9 October 2024. So I hope that you would also join us on this pitching session. I would like to thank our judges, Geneva, as well as Carlo, for being there to judge, to score, to evaluate the teams, but also to ask the questions. I hope that these sessions would very productive for our startups. As I mentioned at the beginning, the final sessions of this AI for Climate Action Innovation Factory will take place in COP29 in Baku, Azerbaijan. So we'll give updates to who are the shortlisted teams for the session in Azerbaijan. But be looking forward at our AI for Good webpage for more information. For today, I would like to thank everyone, but also I would like to wish you a very good day. This is the end of our session. Have a lovely day. Bye.
Thank you for participating in today's AI for Good session. We hope you've learned something new, innovative, and engaging in today's event. We now encourage you to continue the conversation on the live video wall in the neural network. Here you can ask questions, like and comment, share links, complete the poll, connect with interesting profiles, or speak one-on-one using the chat and video function. We invite you to explore the lobby, try the smart matching quiz, visit the virtual exhibits, poster boards, the e-shop, and build your personalized AI for Good program. Let's shape the future of AI for Good.
The AI for Good Global Summit, convened by ITU, recognizes the joint responsibility of governments, the private sector, United Nations agencies, academia, and others to ensure AI reaches its full potential while preventing and mitigating harms.
And it's a moment that calls for action. And today I'm calling on each of you to use this summit to help the world to better understand what kinds of regulations, what kinds of guardrails we need to put in place right now. So together, let's make it innovative, let's make it safe, and let's make it responsible for all. Thank you very much.